Welcome to my study today. Sometimes in English it's difficult to decide whether we have a plural or a singular subject, and that of course affects the following verb. I'll give you some examples where you have to be really careful, and I'll show you what we do towards the end of the video in modern English. There's also an exercise for you to practice. So, let's get started. Verb concord means making the verb and the subject agree. Now that's fairly easy with a singular subject. The delivery is here. Delivery singular, is a singular verb. And it's the same with a plural subject. The deliveries are here. But when we look at collective nouns, things change a little bit. If we regard them as a complete group like this, the football team is winning every match, the government has done something, the family is. You notice we use singular verbs, and it's because we're thinking of these things as impersonal units, in other words, as a group. But, and it's a big but, we can think of collective nouns as individuals. How are the team playing? I'm thinking of them as each one, the 11 members of the team. And then, of course, I have to change the pronoun. They are winning every match. And it happens with other words like this: club, class, and union, and so on. So I could say, the union are on strike, the union is on strike. The orchestra are playing nicely today, the orchestra is playing well. So I can change the verbs. The family are coming tomorrow. If I think of the family as one unit, I would use is. But if I think, say, for example, of mother, father, and my brother, I would say the family are coming tomorrow. Same with the jury. The jury is made up of 12 people in England, so I could regard them as a unit and say the jury is still considering, and then of course change the pronouns, its verdict. Or the jury are thinking of them as 12 individual people, considering their verdict, and change the pronoun. Donald doesn't wear trousers, he wears a kilt. Now trousers is an interesting word because we can qualify it by putting a pair of trousers, similarly with pyjamas and scissors. But then we have to be careful about the verb. These new trousers are tight. I regard them as a plural item. The scissors, and of course they are a they item, the scissors cut well. Technical subjects like mathematics is given a singular verb. Mathematics is my favourite subject. Words like athletics, physics, economics require singular verbs. But here's one. Do you get this one right? News, although it looks like a plural, is regarded as singular in English. The news is good, not the news are good. Now here are some more where you have to be very careful. When we refer to the police, we use a plural verb. The police have arrested the robbers. It's a plural verb for the people of different nationalities. The people of Finland are called Finns. But if we talk about the countries themselves, for example in a football or a rugby match, we still use a plural verb. England are playing France today. Here are some more examples. $1,000 is missing from the bank. 20 years is a long time. We regard 20 years as a single unit, so we give it a singular verb. But look at this example. Katie and her cat are here. Katie and her cat gives us a plural subject, so we use a plural verb. But when we have a qualifying clause, Katie with her cat, we use the singular verb. Katie with her cat is here. Now here comes another but. Fish and chips is popular in England. Now, considering what I've just said, you would think fish and chips is plural, but it's not, because we regard it as one complete meal. Fish and chips is popular in England. And the same with this drink. Gin and tonic is my favourite drink. Look what happens to our singular and plural logic when we start using nouns as adjectives. A new shoe shop is opening in our town. You would think really we would say a shoe shop. It's not just selling one shoe, but we use shoe and therefore we use is. A $5 bill is on the table. We don't say a $5 bill, therefore we use a singular verb. A 15-foot tall giraffe is in the garden. My goodness, I hope not. But notice I don't say a 15 feet tall. It's a peculiarity of English. We say a 15 foot. Therefore, we use the singular verb is. When we talk about each and every, we use a singular verb. Each runner has won a prize. Every student has passed the exam, because we're talking about each one and everyone as an individual. But have a look at some of these examples from modern English. They might surprise you. These words sometimes cause us difficulty in English, because you will know that we have no possessive adjective for both masculine and feminine, or singular or plural nouns, as some languages do. So when we come to an example like this, everyone was shouting at the top of their voices, we prefer their rather than trying to say at the top of his and her voices, which makes the English very difficult. And because of gender sensitivity, people are using sentences like this. When each girl comes, they must bring their books. Now you could say, when each girl comes, she must bring her books. But some people prefer not to do this and use they and their. It's your choice. The following examples sometimes give my students difficulties, but if we go back to the original meanings, it should help. Neither of the answers is correct. Notice is singular verb. And what we're actually saying is not one or the other of two. And another way of expressing that, neither one nor the other is correct. And if we look at the word none, this is another one that causes problems. The original meaning is not one of three or more. So if I say none of the answers is correct, you might expect me to say none of the answers are correct. And a lot of English people make that mistake. But none means not one. So if I say not one of the answers is correct, you can see why I use the singular verb. So here's a test for you. Fortunately, none of the passengers was injured in the crash. If you think that's correct, tell me in the comments below. And finally, where we use there is as a formal subject, the subject decides which verb we use. There is an apple tree in my garden, one tree. There are apple trees in my garden, several trees, so therefore a plural verb. So before we move on to the examples for you to practice, could I ask you to subscribe below and ring that bell? Exercise 1. Choose the correct form, singular or plural, from the examples below. The answers follow. You can pause the video and work through. Next time we shall have another look at the present perfect tense. So, thank you for watching. Please subscribe below and I'll see you next time. Bye.